Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of the Prediction Show. In this episode, we are covering games across the Champions League, of course, game week 2, and also the Championship. It is a very busy Tuesday. I'm going to be showing you a brand new update to Quick Filters as well. This will allow you to find high potential games in a matter of seconds. We'll be using it in this episode. And we have 3 selections in this episode, a couple of doubles focusing on unique and high value markets, and then a bet builder for a game that has been deemed the biggest of the game week by you, the OddAlerts community. And of course, we'll be visiting the football form guide, the player props tool, to see who is coming into game week 2 of the Champions League, hot or not. Are you ready then? Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, just before we take a look at the fixtures for today, this is what we did at the weekend. What a weekend it was. And thank you all for the support on the videos recently. Our data-based and sensible selections. They're always data-based and sensible selections on this channel. They both landed, and incredible odds as well. And thank you in general for the support on the channel. We have just passed 35,000 subscribers. Let's try and get 40,000 before the weekend. That is a big target, but there are many of you watching that are not yet subscribed, so you know what to do. So let's crack on, shall we, with the video. The first selection for Tuesday that I have found during my research actually comes from a brand new feature, and it is the addition of these markets here on Quick Filters. So home goals over 0.5, away goals over 0.5. That is where we are going to be looking, and we are filtering for the odds here, and we're going to say 1.5 or higher. And then what we're going to do is save that rule, and then we're going to add a rule for the competitions, and we're just going to say the Champions League. So we add the Champions League, and I'm also going to add the Championship as well for this evening. I mentioned that there is some Championship games, and we will see them here. So we come out of there, we've got 2 competitions filtered now. We're going to hit search, and now we get a feed that is filtered based on the away goal odds. Now there's a few games that stand out to me right away. We're going to toggle the stats, and we are just going to scroll across here because we can see Wrexham away at Leicester City. Wrexham improved in recent weeks. There was pressure on the manager there. They have scored in every game played this season, and over 1.5 goals has also landed in every single game this season. Ajax away at Marseille. The opening week defeat in the Champions League was the first defeat for Ajax this season, and the first game in which they have failed to score. So will they return to goal scoring form in the Champions League away at Marseille? I see Frankfurt on this list, which is incredible, really, because they have been scoring for fun recently. Atlético Madrid conceded 2 at the weekend at home to rivals Real Madrid. We can see that they are in good goal-scoring form. BTTS has landed in the last 4 games. Frankfurt scored 6 at the weekend away from home. They were 5-0 up at half-time, and we already know that they are at least 1.5 to score a single goal against Atlético Madrid, who, as we can see, are still conceding at this moment in time. So let's take a look at the selection then. Here it is: Frankfurt to score and Wrexham to score, 2.3. Shop around, you might get better odds on other bookmakers. And I also want to show you this from yesterday on the Discord. This was also using a very, very simple quick filter like this, filtering for the odds on these 2 games. And in the Netherlands, it finished 5-1, and it finished 2-1 in Egypt. So yeah, absolutely superb new addition to the website, the ability to filter on the odds of team goals in a matter of seconds. Next up, I thought this deserved a special mention on Tuesday night. Chelsea against Benfica, the return of José Mourinho, the return of the special one, of course. He takes charge of what is Benfica's 6th Champions League game this season, thanks to their qualifying campaign. He is unbeaten so far, 2 wins and a draw. Hard to read too much into that form so far, because José Mourinho lives for nights like these. He will have been preparing his players for this game, no doubt about that. And I've got a question for you in the comments. This is the run that Benfica have for the rest of the group stage. Wow, what a tough run for José Mourinho and Benfica. How will they do? Get your predictions in the comments. Of course, get your predictions in for any of these games. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know what you think of the new odds filtering for team goals. We have got still so much to come on this episode of the Predictions Show. So if you're enjoying it, hit like and don't forget to subscribe. For this next section, we are jumping to Wednesday's games because in the intro I teased that the OddAlerts Discord community has spoken. I ran this poll here, and as you can see, quite comfortably, the game that people wanted to cover, wanted to see more of, the game that people thought was the biggest game of the game week is Barcelona hosting PSG. Let's take a look. And whilst Real Madrid were busy conceding 5, and they looked shocking, by the way, at the back, Barcelona were continuing their unbeaten run this season to 9 games now. These two last met in the Champions League the season before last, wasn't it? And this was a very close tie up until a red card in the first half of the second leg. And after that, PSG went on to score 4 goals, Mbappe getting a double. So, is it time for revenge for Barcelona? Now, usually you would back PSG, certainly with a fully fit squad, to beat anybody, but this is their injury list at the moment. And I'm recording this on Tuesday, so things can change, and there is a bit of early news. Kvaratskhelia can be included, but will not be risked. Ruiz and Neves are better, this is from the coach, and they will travel to Spain with the rest of the squad. Vitinha at this stage is 50-50, so how does that impact your predictions? All those players out for PSG up against Barcelona, who are scoring for fun. On to the player props tool then to get a bit of a better idea of who is performing, who is doing what for both of these teams. Across the last 10 games, Kvaratskhelia, again, winning many fouls. We're looking at fouls drawn here per 90. I just wanted to flag Jules Kounde, who is having a fantastic season at the moment. We can check out his profile because in his last 3 starts, he has a goal and an assist and a couple of shots as well. And he has also committed a foul in the Sociedad game and the Newcastle game. And I think when you're looking at fouls for players that play for teams like Barcelona, like PSG, like Bayern Munich, you should look at these games where they're playing teams that can match them in certain areas. A tight game against Sociedad, did he commit a foul? Yes, he did. A tight game, a physical game against Newcastle away, did he commit a foul? Yes, he did. So always dig deeper into the data with your statistical shovel. Now moving to another metric, shots, over 1.5 shots per game. What is the percentage across the last 10? We can see Lamine Yamal, 90% of his games. He's actually been injured, but he came on for 32 minutes and provided an assist for Barcelona. He is expected to start this game. If you look around at the predicted lineups, he has assisted or scored in his last 9 games. He's a bit of a good player, isn't he, for his age? He's absolutely superb. He's been injured with a pubic injury, though, so glad that he's back from that. Wonder what happened. Now, it was Marcus Rashford that grabbed the headlines against Newcastle, and rightly so, but Rafinha here also had 4 shots in that game, and in his last 10 he has 4 goals and 3 assists and 26 shots taken. Yet to be seen whether he makes the squad for this one. Jumping back to the fixture feed and a quick look at corners, PSG have had 3 or more corners in every game since they beat Bayern Munich in the Club World Cup. So 3 or more corners in every game since then, and a lot of games before then as well. And this is my selection for the game. My bet builder, Kounde to commit a foul. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. As I say, this is not their typical game. They are not going to walk this game. Yes, there's injuries for PSG, but they've still got very exciting players at the top end of the pitch that can come on and cause issues, especially Kounde. As he is at the minute, going forward so much, he's going to have to get back. And sometimes against PSG, you might not have the cover to do so. Corners for PSG, as we just saw, I think the bookies are underestimating them a little bit in that regard. And over 1.5 goals for Barcelona. That one speaks for itself, doesn't it? Threes. What I will say as well, the Kounde foul, shop around, because Kounde for a foul alone is evens on Betfair, but of course they don't have those other markets. And I was also waiting for Team to get the most cards, which we're going to touch on in a moment, but it is not yet available at the time of recording. We move now to the football form guide, and we are looking at the last 6 games overall for all teams in the competition. Again, this is linked in the description. You can try it out for free right now. Follow along if you want. And I mentioned that we are returning to a market that brought us so much joy last season, and that is team to get the most cards. So let's take a look at some data. In terms of fouls won, Inter Milan has won 87 across the last 6. They are hosting Slavia Praha. Only Paphos FC have won more, but you don't expect them to be winning that many as they are playing Bayern Munich. Now to fouls committed, and Slavia Praha rank 5th for this. Inter Milan some way down with 61 across the last 6 games. Slavia Praha 87. And a word for Sporting and Real Madrid, 92 and 97. Sporting away at Napoli could be a tasty game indeed. And Real Madrid, they're in Kazakhstan, so you would expect them with odds of 1.083 to have a lot of the ball in that one. And now, in terms of total yellow cards seen, only Paphos FC and Bayer Leverkusen have seen more than Chelsea across the last 6 games. 35 cards seen total in their last 6 games. 42 for Bayer Leverkusen. What have they been doing? Wow. And I've used that data to put together this double, another double. Let me know what you think about this one, as always, in the comments. Slavia Praha away at Inter Milan is going to be a very difficult game for them to get the most cards, 1.8. And then Benfica, José Mourinho's Benfica at Chelsea, his old stomping ground, to get the most cards. They're not favourites for this game. Chelsea still with their quality favourites. They're going to try and keep the ball, as Maresca's teams always do, which may frustrate Benfica. And if Benfica take a lead, which I imagine they very well could be, if you watch Chelsea against Brighton, you will not be too confident in their defence and their keeper. So Benfica to get the most cards in what is going to be a charged game, shall we say, for José Mourinho on his return. He knows what he's doing in these types of games. I can't wait to see how they do under Jose. As we saw earlier in the video, they've got a very, very tough run. So we're going to leave you by doing some quick fire predictions on Tuesday's games. If you've enjoyed this video, hit like. 2,000 likes is the target, of course. Atalanta against Club Brugge. I think Atalanta will return to form and get a 2-0 victory there. I'm going to go 4-0 for Real Madrid away in Kazakhstan. Benfica Chelsea, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Jose to get something from the bridge. He's going to have to be pragmatic, and typical Jose really in this campaign, given the teams that they're going to face. It is going to be tough for Benfica, no doubt about that. Ajax, I think the gap between maybe the Eredivisie and the Champions League is getting a little bit bigger. I think Marseille, just like the bookies do, I think they will win this game. I'm going to go 2 or 3-1 to Marseille. Paphos Bayern Munich, 6-0 Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have started the season. I think it's the best start ever, isn't it, in the Bundesliga, on record, which is saying something by their standards. Inter Slavia Praha, 2-0 if I ever saw one. Galatasaray Liverpool, not covered that game, but it could go anyway with the way Liverpool are playing at the moment. 3-1 to Liverpool. Liverpool to get a second half goal. Most goals to be scored in the second half. Bodo Glimt against Spurs. BTTS would be my pick for that one, and the bookies are agreeing 1.57. I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. Atletico Madrid against Frankfurt. Well, they have been scoring for fun. We've got them on a double to simply score a goal. Atletico Madrid are the favourites for this one. BTTS 1.78. I'm going to go with a 2-1 narrow victory for Atletico Madrid. Let me know what your predictions are for all of these games, and of course Wednesdays if you want as well. 2,000 likes. I'll be back here in the morning. See you in the next one.